Hello, welcome everybody. And so this is our week 9, and we are actually moving into the second quarter now. So everything from this point forward is going to be counting towards our second quarter. And as you can see from my screen, we're starting something totally new. So we spent our first quarter pretty much reviewing just some basics about robotics, and then we moved into looking at the documentaries and get some thoughts about just the field of robotics in general. And we also spent some time learning about the different parts of a robot and the subsystems, which is very important because we're going to be using virtual robots, and they're Vex robots. And so pretty much all of the parts and the systems that we studied, now you're actually going to put those into practice. So this is the website. It's Computer Science Fundamentals. This is the course that we're going to be studying and going through. And there are quite a few units. So it's completely new. So if you were with me last year, we did Coder Z. But the thing is that Coder Z actually, it costs money. And honestly, I wasn't too impressed with it as far as, what we were able to do with it. So I don't know. I found this program here that I think hopefully will be more enjoyable and easier for you guys to use, right? I think Coder Z was maybe a few levels too high for where we are at here at this school, right? So we are really just starting with basic beginner robotics here. And I think the Coder Z was good, but then it got super hard, and I think it was really tricky for you guys. So we're going to start with this Vex VR code, and this is a lot of fun. It's a virtual robot, so it's similar to Coder Z. The thing that's different about it, and I'm going to show you really quick, but they use the blocks. So we're used to coding with blocks, right? Because we use code.org, which it uses blocks. We use Scratch, it uses blocks. And so this Vex Code VR also uses blocks. So I think that you probably will find this more user-friendly and kind of more what you're used to using as far as it goes with coding. Okay, so what we're going to spend the first week doing is we're going to do getting started, and then I'm going to show you how to open and run your first project. But the most important part of today's lesson is going to be learning how to save your project. Why is that the most important part? Because every week you are going to be doing a coding project with your robot. And the only way for me to be able to check your code is for you to be able to save the project, and then you're going to be emailing it to me. And then I'm going to open up the code, and I'll be able to look at it and see what you did and evaluate it and give you a grade on it. Okay, so we're going to spend part of today learning how to actually save our code and then email it. All right, so really, if you need to take notes, please take notes. I mean, obviously you have the video, so you could always go back and pause it. But I really want you guys to master this, and you're going, that's what your assignment is going to be this week, to just send me. You don't even have, you could just put in any code and just send it to me, just to practice sending it. So then that way we're practicing how you're going to submit your work. Okay. So this is Vex Code VR, and here's our robot. So it looks similar to the Mindstorm that we were used to last year. Very similar looking. And so let me put on, there's a few. So what they do with this is they have some video tutorials. So we're going to go through those tutorials, and it'll help you guys to be able to just get familiar with the program. Okay, so I'll put on the first one. They're all like super short.
Vex Code VR contains helpful information about.
Sorry, hang on a minute.
First, open the help window by selecting
the volume louder. Hang on, so you guys could actually hear it. That'd be helpful.
Selecting the question mark icon. Vex Code VR contains helpful information about every block. First, open the help window by selecting the question mark icon. Next, choose a block you would like to learn more about by.
Hang on a minute. This is not the video that I want to show you guys. Hang on, I want to show you guys This one, I want to show you this one.
With Vex Code VR, you can program a VR robot to do many things. Every project begins with a when started block. There are many different blocks that you can use to program your robot. Let's add a few blocks to our project. Blocks can easily be stacked together, rearranged, and deleted. Need help with a block? Getting help is easy. Select a block to learn how it works. Another great place to learn different blocks and behaviors is from example projects. Once you are ready to try your project with the VR robot, you can select Playground. Then, select Start to run your project. When done coding, you can download a copy of your project by selecting Save to your device. To learn more about Vex Code VR, take a look at the other tutorial videos. Have fun!
Okay, so that's just like a little introduction for you guys. So pretty much everything, all the code that we will be using is going to be here. And there's like all different categories. So we're going to spend one of the weeks just learning about the different blocks. So I'll spend some time with you guys just explaining what they do. And hopefully it will make sense. And again, there is the help button, which helps you to understand if you don't know what a specific block does, it'll explain it to you. Okay. And so it'll tell you, like, for example, the drive forward block. What will it do? The drive block will run the drivetrain forever until a new drivetrain block is used. So it'll just keep going forward forever, right? So we'll get to that, but not this week, because this week we're just focusing on introducing the program and the robot and just getting everybody comfortable with this, okay? So there's some things here. These are some of our robot features. So let me see. I wonder if I could zoom in a little bit more so you guys could see it better. But here's our robot. So we have wheels here, and as you can notice, there's different sensors. There's a built-in gyro sensor, distance sensors, bumper sensors. There's eyes, so there's vision. There's an electromagnet. So there are some different features here, and then it explains a little bit about it. So this robot has a drivetrain with a gyro. So if you remember the gyroscopic center, it measures angles. So what would that be helpful for? For turning our robot, right? So our drivetrain is pretty much allowing the robot to move. And then the gyro helps the robot to turn depending on like whatever angle we want it to turn for wherever we're going. It has a pen. So this pen drawing feature allows the pen to be placed up when you do not want to draw. And when you do want to draw, it can go down. So you'll get to play around with this, but pretty much the pen can allow you, when you're on your field going around, you can actually draw. And so that will be one of the activities that we'll be doing. An electromagnet allows to pick up discs with metal cores. So that will be used for some of the missions and things that you'll be doing. Some of the physical parts. So the wheels are 55 millimeters in diameter. And why do we need to know this? Because there might be some activities where you will need to figure out how many times your wheel will need to rotate to go a certain distance, right? So if you guys remember, well, at least some of the, I'm trying to think. Well, last year we did go through this, but I know that it was very hard. But if you guys remember, we learned about the circumference of the wheels, and then we learned how we could use that to calculate how many times our robot, if the wheel, how many rotations, how far the distance was. And so we use the encoders, right? Because each of our wheels had an encoder sensor. And what does the encoder do? That helps the robot to calculate, okay, so it went 2 rotations. And then that would help us to figure out, oh, okay, how can we figure out the distance then in millimeters, right? So though, again, I wouldn't really get to, if you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, don't worry about it. So just, we're gonna have fun with this, you're gonna learn, and there's some math involved, but it's very basic, and you don't need to like memorize any of this, okay? So it just gives you a little bit more specs on the robot. The length of it is 133 millimeters. It tells you a little bit about the sensors. So there's the motor encoders, what we were just talking about. They're 360 degrees per wheel revolution. There's a front-facing eye sensor, so that also acts like a distance sensor. And so it can return the distance of detected object in millimeters and inches. So if your little sensor is on and you're going towards something, it can tell you how far away it is from you, okay? And then there's the gyro, right, which helps us to be able to turn our robot. So it says it also has 2 eye sensors, one that faces forward, the other that's down, and these can detect if an object is present. It could also detect color, so that's interesting. It could detect red, green, blue, or none. So that's helpful to know. There's a location sensor that can read an XY coordinate. So again, don't worry about this, but you know when you're on the graph, right? You have your x-axis and your y-axis. So obviously a coordinate is where the 2 of them meet. And so it can help you if you're moving your robot around to know where your robot is and then where does your robot need to go. So again, don't worry, we're gonna look at these things as we go along, okay? So that's just a little basics about the robot. Our playground. Oh, so our playground is super cool. I think you guys will have fun with this. The playground actually has different backgrounds that you can choose from. So there's a grid, if you just want the traditional grid. There's a number grid. There is, let's look through these. Sorry, I wish it was faster. There's a number grid. There's an art canvas. Ooh, I bet that one will be fun. You can use your pen and draw. Let's say, woo, that's going to be fun. There's a disc maze. So remember, you can use the electromagnet to pick up the discs, right? That's going to be fun. There's a wall maze. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Dynamic wall maze, and there's a wall maze. Let's see what they look like. So these are all just different playgrounds for our robot that we're going to be using with our robot. So here's our dynamic wall maze. Woo, look at that maze. We're to get our robot through that maze. There's a disc mover. I wonder what that one is. Let's see. Disc mover. Wow. There's a disc transport. So we have a lot of different playgrounds for our robot to have fun in. And sorry that they take a few seconds to load. Let's see. There's another one. A castle crasher. I wonder what that one is. Oh, our robot. We can make a whole game with our robot with this one. And then we have a dynamic castle crasher. So again, I'm just kind of introducing you to the whole thing today. And then as the weeks go on, we'll get to use these things and you guys can explore with them. So that's a little bit about our playground. Okay, so now I'm going to move on. So I'm moving on. Opening an example and running your first project. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on. So I'm going to show you guys 2 short little tutorial videos. So it'll show you how you can add blocks, how you can open an example project, how to save a project, and then so the saving part is what we're really going to focus on. And then I'm going to go and I'll show you how to do it. And I'll show you how to put it into an email. Okay, so let's just watch these 2 quick videos and then I'll come and we'll go through it.
Creating a project in Vex Code VR is easy. Blocks can be dragged from the toolbox into the project workspace. There, blocks can be stacked together to create your project. You can also rearrange blocks by dragging them off of a stack and inserting them in a different spot in your project. At some point, you may want to delete a block from your project. To delete part of a stack of blocks that are not within a loop, separate the blocks from your project and drag it back to the toolbox area. To delete a block that is in the middle of a stack, right-click on the block you would like to delete and select the Delete option. If using a tablet, press and hold the block until the options appear. Then select Delete. If you would like to move a block from your project for later use, remove it from the stack and move it off to the side. Keep in mind that only blocks connected to the When Started block will be sent to the robot when your project is started.
Okay, so again, hopefully it sounds and looks pretty familiar to what you're used to as far as coding goes. All right, let's watch this last one here.
In Vex Code VR, all projects begin with a default name of Vex Code Project. To give your project a different name, select the project name in the toolbar. When saving your project, the project name is used to name the file that is downloaded. To save a copy of your project, open the File menu and select Save to your device. Note that your project will be downloaded and saved to your browser's default downloads location on your device. To load an existing project, open the File menu and select Load from your device. If you forgot to save a copy of your project before opening a project or creating a new project, you will be asked to save before moving on. Select Save to save a copy of your project, or Discard to move on without saving. Remember, Vex Code VR will not automatically save your projects, so be sure to save before navigating to a different website.
All right, so yes, that is very important because you don't want to be stressed out if you spend so much time adding in code and then you didn't save it, right? You're probably going to be so upset. So let's add in some code here, and then I will show you guys, we'll save it, okay? So I'm just putting a few blocks. So again, with the blocks, right, anything that gets attached to the when started, that is going to be what we'll get as part of, I'm just making this bigger because I wonder if you guys could even see it. So whatever gets attached to the when started, when you hit the start button, the run button, that's what's going to run in the playground. So that's what your robot is going to be doing, right? And like they were explaining, you can, if you make a mistake, you can always delete a block, you can detach and, you know, take them out and just start over again. So, okay, so let's rename this project. So this is what I want you guys to do, okay, for your homework. You're going to go into here and you're going to just put a few blocks in. You just add like 2, like me. Then you're going to rename it, put your name. So I'm going to put like Mrs. Erica Starter. So that way I know that this is like my first thing and I'm going to rename it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Save to your device. Okay, so this is what I want all of you guys to do. So if you want to jot this down, first thing you're doing is renaming it. Put your name, so that way when you send it to me, the little file, I'll just know it's yours. So, and then you could just put like starter after it, so we'll know it's your first one. And then click on Save Device. You're going to File, Save to your device. And now do you see right here at the bottom? It just opened up here. So if I click, what I can do is I can move this out to my desktop. So I'll show you guys. So I can take the little file. So I go to File. I may have to do it again because I think it disappeared. Save to my device. And then I could save it to my desktop. So I can, sorry, hang on a minute. I got to make it bigger. So let's try it again. So there it is. Now I can show in folder, and then I can, so right now, so your work is going to be saved to different, it's so tricky to explain this to you guys without being with you. But so when you download something and you're saving it, like every computer is different. So like for the example, this one is saving it to the C drive, but there's a way that you can just drag the file and then you can just put it onto your desktop. So which I think that might be the easiest thing to do for you guys. But again, I don't know if you're going to be able to figure that out. So, gosh, it's so tricky to explain these things without being with you. I mean, I would say just minimize this and then just drag the file out to your desktop. So do you see how I just did that? And now my file's on my desktop. My file's right there on the desktop. So now what I can do is I can go into my email. So let me go, hang on, I'm just going to pause this so I can open my other email. Okay, so now I'm in my email. So now what I would do is I'd go to compose and then I would send it to my, you're sending it to me and you would say robotics starter code homework, right? And then you would have to go to here where it says attach files and then go to your desktop and you're going to look for that file that we just named Mrs. Erica's starter. Here it is. And then I'm going to click it. And so now that file, you're going to email it to me. Okay. And so now you have to remember this file, you can't open it. So like, let me show you guys. If I try to click here and I try to open it, it's not going to open. Why isn't it going to open? Because it is a file that's only recognized by this program, this Vex Code. So if I go to file, and I go to load from your device, and then I look for my file that I just saved, Mrs. Erica's starter project, I can open it, and now here it is. So the code just opened, okay? So, gosh, what am I getting myself into? I'm having you guys each send me a file. I'm gonna have to open these one by one. And so I don't know what am I getting myself into? I don't know, but I guess that's what we'll do, okay? So, yeah, so you're gonna send it to me, and then if I want to open your file, I have to go to load from your device, and then I'll be able to open up your file and I can see your code, okay? So, and that'll be able to help me see that you know what you're doing, right? So the point of this is that, do you know how to, so I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it all over again one more time, just because I just don't want to confuse you guys. So now I'm at a new thing, okay? So it says Vex Code Project. So here we go. I'm gonna rename it. Mrs. Erica, I have to give it a different name because I already named it the other thing. Homework number 1, right? Because this is homework number 1. Rename. So there it is. Now I want to go to File, Save to your device. Now here it is again at the bottom. Is everybody seeing this? It's loading at the bottom. And I don't know why, I just suspect that some people are going to have an issue with this, but you have to get comfortable using the computer. So this is probably going to be a little bit challenging at first, getting comfortable finding files. So just a quick thing, this yellow folder at the bottom is a file explorer. And so whenever you click on it, it's going to, everybody's computer is different, right? So my computer, everybody has a desktop, but on my computer, as you could see, I have a lot of folders and files on my desktop, right? I also have a documents folder, which everybody has one of those on their computer. A downloads thing. The downloads is where it goes. So there it is, okay? Homework number 1 is in the downloads. So if you do not see this coming at the bottom, it's not doing it like mine, you might need to go into your file explorer, go into downloads, and then you'll see it in there, okay? So you might need to do a little bit of detective work to find your file, right? Because every computer has multiple locations where we can save files, right? There's your desktop, your documents, your downloads. I mean, I have a portable USB drive where I keep things. So there's a C drive, which is pretty much like your hard drive. That means it is saved on the hard drive of the computer. Things can get saved on there too. So what my point in explaining this to you is that yours may not look like mine, where you see your file at the bottom. you might need to go find it. And then if it makes it easier for you, you can, like I was showing you, you can just drag it to your desktop. So then why are we dragging it to the desktop? Because you want to email it, right? So because you want to go into the email, and so I'll just get a new email. You want to go to attach files, and then something weird pops up. No, and then you could either go to downloads and you could find it in there, or if you moved it to your desktop, then for where am I, Mrs. Erica, homework number 1, you'll see it. So there it is, homework number 1, and then click open and you'll see it being attached. So when you're attaching something to an email, it's always going to show up here at the bottom of the email. I hope you guys can see this. And then put a subject line, robotics, maybe just say Vex Code, just so I know what this is for, right? Vex Code, homework number 1. And then you could just say, hi, attached is my saved Vex Code project, right? And then put your name so that I know it's you. And then you can send it to me, okay? And so then what will that do? That will send me an email with the link, and then I can go in and I can open up your file and I can check to see your code. So this should be very interesting, yeah, doing this. But I think you guys will have fun. Hey, we're really using technology, and you're just going to be challenging your brain. You know, that's why part of, if you've been with me again for years, part of what I teach as part of coding is I teach growth mindset. And this is really a, I would say more psychological. This is more mental, because when you're working with technology, especially with coding, you need to have a growth mindset. And so, oh wait, hang on. I bet if you guys were here in, who remembers, where is it? Who remembers, oh my gosh, I can't find it. Probably like the last book in my bag. I was gonna show you guys just for a little joke. If you remembered being here, I know we've read it a couple of times. Oh, here it is. Who remembers this one? Bubblegum Brain. I just read it with the 3rd graders a couple of weeks ago. And this is such a great book because it talks about, right, we have Brick Brain, and he's always so close to everything, right? If he doesn't get it perfect, then he gives up. And then there's Bubblegum Brain, right? And Bubblegum Brain realizes that you don't get things right every time on the first try. And actually, it's better to have fail and make mistakes, because it means that you're learning, especially with code. You cannot have the expectation that you're going to just put all the blocks together and it's just going to work the first time. If you go into it with that expectation, you're going to be let down, and you're probably going to be frustrated, and you're just going to want to give up, right? Especially if you're one of those people that just like needs to get 100 on everything. Otherwise, you're just miserable. Then I would say coding is definitely not the field for you to go into, because you're not going to be happy. It's really the field for people who are innovators. They're not afraid to take risks. They're daring. They're people who are willing to make mistakes, and they don't care. They don't like feel embarrassed or anything. They're just bold. Those are the kind of people who go into these coding fields, especially robotics. Because I mean, think about it. You're making a robot. You're not going to get the robot perfect the first time, right? So please have a bubblegum brain as you're working through this. Even saving your file, you're going to need a bubblegum brain for that, because you never did it before, right? And attaching it to the email. And so it might take a few tries. Maybe you might send me an email, didn't work, and we have to try it again. So don't give up. Don't be frustrated. Be willing to keep trying until you get something right. So I think that's why this is a really good first lesson, because you're going to have to be sending me your code every week for the projects that we're going to be doing. And if you're not even able to save it or send it, then you're going to be really having a hard time, right? So please, guys, do it this week. Oh, I have to send you the link. So I'm going to send you the link to this Vex code. I'm going to send it in the email. You'll click on it. You'll go in. You'll save your file. You'll go here. You'll go to save to your device. And then you will go into your email, and you'll email it to me, and I'll get your email. And then I'll go in and I'll open it and I'll see what you did. Okay. And then I'll be able to give you credit. So basically your first assignment is sending me a file from the Vex Code. So that way we are getting used to doing this, right? All right, guys. So I think we're going to just stop here for this week. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much. And then next week, what we're going to do is we're going to move into taking a look at all of the different categories of blocks and just getting familiar with what they do. So that way, because why? Because you can't really code something if you don't know what the blocks do, right? You really need to have an understanding of what do these blocks mean? When do I use them, right? And so then you'll be able to actually code your robot. And then there's a lot of fun challenges and things that they have with this curriculum. So we can definitely use those things as we move on through the weeks. Okay. All right. I think this has probably been long enough. So we'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, guys.